Hey guys, Arm&Gun here today with a video on the RPKs of the world, more accurately the AK SAWs or squad automatics of the world. This is volume 1. This is by no means an exhaustive list of guns. Actually, a lot of these don't even apply. They just kind of fit in some way or another. So to the AK overall family, so they're here just to fill space and look cool, with the exception of the 50 cal rifle on the ground, which was just kind of heavy. My back hurt my back this week, so I just was like, nah, it can stay. But everything else kind of serves a purpose-ish. Anyways, we're gonna give you guys a quick rundown, everything on the wall, just to sate your curiosity up front. Then I'll give you guys a definition of what a squad automatic weapon is and why the term light machine gun technically isn't correct. Also, why the RPK family of firearms fits the squad automatic role. And then I'll give you guys a little bit more of a up-close personal look at what rifles on this wall constitute as squad automatics and what their defining features and characteristics are. Now, this is volume 1 of the series. It's by no means an exhaustive list of, quote-unquote RPKs or AK squad automatics. But if you guys like it, we'll try and get some more guns in through the armory here so that we can do another series. Alrighty, guys, rundown from the top. This is the Chinese RPK. This will be the last time I do air quotes in this video. But if I say something like Chinese RPK, again, this is just the Chinese version or derivative of their AK pattern firearm that's set up to be the squad automatic of the group. The model number for this guy is the Type 81. It's actually called the Type 81 LMG for some reason. LMG, standing for light machine gun, is actually an incorrect term being applied to this, but more on that soon. Next up, we have a Zastava, or Zastava, or Zastava, whatever you want to say. Actually, look up the correct pronunciation of that. I'm not 100% sure. Hit it in the comments if you know it. This is an M70. I think this is the AB1. This is the one with only a 1mm receiver. She's an underfolder. She's got the gas cut off. It's a pretty good time. Below this, we have the Galil Galat sniper rifle, otherwise known as the Galil sniper rifle, because Galat means Galil sniper. But really nice, beautiful rifle. Pretty new to the armory. We're going to have more content on that guy coming soon. Then up here we have a long barrel VZ58, or CZ858 as they are known in Canada. That's a Czech pattern. You could call that the Czech, almost did the air quotes, Czech RPK with its own special proprietary 75 round drum. They take different aluminum mags. I got a 30 rounder back there. And then the beloved Dragunov, the SVD. That's a semi-automatic designated marksman's rifle or sniper rifle, depending on who's using it. Again, if you want to learn more about that guy and this guy, the Galats, check out Sniper Rifles of the World Volume 1, which is a video similar to this, but different. Below this, now this thing is really looking like an RPK, and that's because it is, again, a Zastava M72. This is their heavy barrel derivative of the M70. Got some really neat defining characteristics such as that ribbed heavy barrel, the bipod. No clubfoot stock though, but it does have a chonky, thick receiver, and this one is really slick and smooth. Also, well, if you know, you know. Then below that, Finland's RPK. Actually, for the record, if it's Zastava, that's technically a Yugo, Yugoslavians or Serbia's RPK. So if we're sticking with that whole theme, that'd be the country where those belong. Then Finland's RPK, the Velmet M78. For some reason, this guy is not considered an AK in Canada, which is good for those Canadians, and makes these things particularly valuable and collectible. This one is in 7.62 by 39. These things are super friggin' rare, and they are just... Velmets are beautiful rifles all the way around. They're very well built. They're known for being very reliable and quite accurate as well. I've talked more about Velmets in previous videos. If you guys want to learn more, go check them out. I actually have specific shooting content on this guy. It's basically how to shoot an RPK is the title of that video. Then the big brother, the Velmet M78. This one's a -83S, but basically it's an M78 in 308, different stock configuration, and we got that little optic set up on there as well. Otherwise, very similar. It's just that it's in 7.62 NATO, or 308, instead of 7.62 by 39. And then this big beast down here, EDM Arms M96 Windrunner, atop a very dusty floor that I need to deal with. At any rate, back up, and now let's discuss some technical terms. Get you guys some knowledge. In a technical sense, the squad automatic weapon is a true counterpart to the infantryman's rifle. By today's standards, that means it uses the same intermediate cartridge that you would find in an AR-15, an AK-47, or an AK-74. Those being 5.56 by 45, 7.62 by 39, and 5.45 by 39. Contrast this with a light machine gun. Well, technically the term light machine gun got phased out shortly after World War II as everyone progressed to general purpose machine guns. But by today's standards, those are going to be covered by the M240s and the PKMs of the world. So a PKM versus an RPK, what's the difference? Well, typically they're belt fed, but not always. You can have squad automatics as being belt fed as well. That doesn't really matter. You can see that with the M249 SAW. But the major defining characteristic is that GPMGs, like the PKM, are chambered in full power rifle cartridges, such as 7.62x51 NATO or 7.62x54 rimmed. So in terms of the squad, so to speak, at the small infantry level, that means having to run two different types of ammunition to feed firearms supporting those guys. Modern doctrine just likes to have something like a squad automatic to run alongside those guys and have caliber interchangeability, and in most cases now, magazines as well. Fun fact, if you didn't know it, the M249 actually can run, while questionably, on AR-15 STANAG magazines. And fun pop culture fact, the gun that the Winter Soldier runs around with in the Avengers movies is an M249 with a 100-round Surefire quad stack mag stuck in it. Looks incredibly badass, and I need to make that happen. So those are more or less the differentiating features between a squad automatic and a GPMG, a general purpose machine gun. However, the defining characteristics of an AK squad automatic are going to be as follows. You're going to have a longer, heavier barrel. These are built for more sustained fire. Not incredible amounts of sustained fire, because none of these have a way of changing out the barrel for, heavy sustained fire, dealing with that heat buildup over time. But they will typically have a longer, heavier barrel to absorb more heat. They'll be equipped usually with a bipod, and in some cases, well, not required, a carry handle. They'll be able to take some type of larger capacity, which in RPKs is typically a 40-round magazine. This is only a 30, or a 75-round or other capacity drum. They often have a beefier receiver. When you're talking about the AKM, it's reinforced bulge trunnion, and the receiver is actually about 20 millimeters, or just 3/4 of an inch or so longer. And that's to give the bolt more travel, to slow down the fire rate a little bit. Still around 600 rounds or so per minute, but again, just brings it down a little bit more. And then oftentimes you'll see a club foot stock, something that has a provision to get the supporting hand tucked in behind this, again, just to help support, give better suppressive fire. So when looking at the wall of guns over here, you'll see pretty quickly which guns maintain those features and which ones have deleted them. Now, the VZ58 over here, the Czech RPK, this one is really only found in the aftermarket community as in this configuration, as it was never really made this way for military use. The barrel is extra long at 18.6 inches because this is a Canadian firearm and this was made to avoid SPR laws in Canada. Yes, well, those guys stateside will whine about 16 inches. Up here, it needs to be 18.6. There's no club foot stock version of the VZ58, and while it can take 75-round drums, the receiver is not strengthened in any way, and the barrel is still a super light profile. The Yugo over here, the M70, this is basically here as a way of contrasting what the infantry rifle looked like relative to the squad automatic down here. Now, while the Yugos didn't give it a clubfoot stock, they did again do the bulged receiver, and again, provisions for a heavy and faster cooling barrel, as well as a bipod. The fins were fairly similar. They left the bipod, though they didn't bulge the trunnion, but this is more of a aftermarket commercial version as opposed to a military version. And they did do the clubfoot stock as well. The big M78 and 308 down here would be disqualified again because it is not an intermediate cartridge. It is a full power rifle cartridge. And for the same reason, the SVD and the Galats wouldn't fit this mold either. And then to wrap things up, I guess I should probably let you guys know what RPK actually stands for. Ironically, I don't have a true RPK on the wall. An RPK would be an AKM derivative. But nonetheless, there were so many countries in the Comm Block series and in that part of the world that built similar versions of the guns over time based on their own designs and whatnot. So I've been able to cover at least some of those for you guys here today. But RPK literally stands for Handheld Machine Gun by Kalashnikov, or Kalashnikov's handheld machine gun. And in history, the RPK actually phased out the RPD. Any guesses what that stands for? It's pretty darn close, just based on a different designer, Degtyarev. Degtyarev's handheld machine gun, and that was basically the lightest derivative of the DP-28, or even the Dishka uses a similar system. Very cool, but much like Kalashnikov, Degtyarev, and a few other guys just have a long, storied, and successful history of developing firearms in Russia, or I suppose the Soviet Union at the time. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below what RPKs or AK-style saws from around the world you'd like to see on Volume 2 or future videos on the channel. I'll do my best to get my hands on them. Thanks a ton, guys. Arm&Gun, out.